Hey, I'm Mike Starr. I hunt with slingshots fairly frequently. So today we're going to build one from start to finish and go see if we can't get a couple of rabbits for dinner tonight. Yeah, I mean, find a piece of wood. Forked branch is best. The reason you want to fork is because both of the tips of your slingshot are under a fair amount of tension, and the grain in the wood follows the grain of the fork. So if you were just to use like a piece of 2x4 or something and cut a slingshot shape out of it, both tips would break off, whereas the grain of the wood follows the U in a fork, which adds some structural integrity. Couple of them. So this one, that one will probably do, and definitely this one here. I take bark off because if I leave the bark on one side, most of the moisture will come out this side and you'll get some weird warping and cracking. If you let it kind of speed dry with all of it exposed, you can still get some warping and stuff, you just get a lot less. Dry it, however, whether you want to do like we did and put it in the microwave, that takes about an hour and a half to dry. If you want to set it aside, it takes like 6-8 months to dry. Use a template or don't, and cut out something with a gap in it, a Y shape of some sort. Just general shaping, like you play with it until you get it just where you want it. You know how it goes, you just like feel it, take some wood off, feel it, take some wood off. Super glue. We're getting down towards the bottom of this. It just seals it up real nice. It can be buffed out to like a pretty high gloss finish, and it's real easy to apply, and it really brings out the grain of the wood. It's durable. If you chip it, it's easy to repair. You can just add more super glue, continue to rub in, but I just rub it until it gets kind of sticky in my gloves, and then set it down to dry. All the power from a slingshot comes from the bands. That's where you ought to focus your energy. It's important to get like the most out of your band, and that comes with like balancing ammo to it. So there's different tapers. Like what you saw me shooting today was a 22mm to 18mm taper. It's thicker at the edge of the fork and then tapers down to where the pouch is. And I'm shooting like 0.76 rubber, which will move an 11mm ball at like 212 feet per second, which is plenty enough to kill any small game in Alaska. If I were to use a much lighter ball, I'd get a little bit more speed, but there'd be a bunch of band slap, and most of the energy from the bands wouldn't be transferred into the ball, right? Whereas if I used a much heavier ball, like if this were lead, for instance, I'd need to add some horsepower to my bands to get it moving at a similar speed, right? I'd have to have a thicker taper or use a thicker band material. So you can theoretically have more band than you need and lose power. Does that make sense? I fold it back down so that's not in the way terribly. Like your thumbnail, go over the top. There we go. Ready to rock and roll. Rabbits have just like cleaned the bark off of these little spruce trees. Okay. Yeah, so I've been following hare to hare, right? I get fairly close and then they run off, and then came out on this pond and all in these willows and alders and young spruce. There's a bunch of them, and for whatever reason, I don't know if it's because they're turning already and they know they stand out in the snow or what, but they're not staying around to be shot at. So I was actually, when I saw this one, I was actually lined up to shoot at another one, and he came much closer and stopped. So I adjusted and got a shot on this one, and then a quick follow-up shot, and we've got dinner, which is nice. But man, there's a bunch of them in here. Just getting close to them is really tough. A female snowshoe hare can have litters. If it's a mild winter, she'll have litters all through the winter, every 31 days. 31 days is their gestation period. Oh. So you see why the population booms and busts so rapidly. Mm-hmm. Even if I was, you know, whacking 10 or 15 a day with a rifle, I don't think I would be doing them any harm. Yeah. He's dead, dude. He's dead, dude. That's where you want to hit him.